Hey everybody, Ryan here with Ray's latest, and today I kind of want to talk about Joe Boyle kind of possibly kind of taking that jump into the starting rotation in 2026, as well as the projected ZIPS model for our projected starting opening day roster. 2026 has just came out, so I kind of want to delve into what that means and kind of what the metrics think about our starting 40-man roster for this upcoming season. But first, I want to kind of talk about Joe Boyle. And he's always had the electric stuff. He's got a good ride fastball. He's got good depth on his slider. He's got good action on his splitter that he's just now kind of starting to develop. And I think that his progress being kind of trending in the right direction as to where it is kind of right now is really big for the possibility of how this rotation can kind of round out in 2026. And you have the if McClanahan's healthy and ready to go, you have McClanahan, Rasmussen, Pepio, Matz, and then you delve away Taj Bradley last season. You get rid of Shane Baz this offseason, and it's kind of that up in the air of, are we going to go sign a fifth starter, or are we going to kind of transition somebody that we already have in the system that hasn't necessarily been in our rotation and kind of try and make them that premier back end arm that we really want. And I think that Joe Boyle is kind of the guy for that. And the reason why I say that is because he comps heavily to like Hunter Green, and just the way his stature, the way his fastball, his slider, his splitter, kind of the way everything kind of just meshes together in comparison to one another. They're almost identical in how they pitch. But the thing is with Green is when he first came into the league, he did struggle heavily with command and being able to throw strikes at a high level. And he's slowly gotten better to where his fastball command, his slider command is all above average. And Joe Boyle has been severely below average over the years in his command. And I have this chart here. It's kind of so 2024, he had a fastball command grade of a 30, which is way below average. 2025, he got that up to about a 40 grade, so it's improvement. Same with the slider, started at a 40 grade, now up to about average in a 50 grade. And he's just now developing that splitter in 2025 for about a 35 grade. And so it's it's improvements that I'm seeing from him, and being in the race system for the first full year, you kind of see these improvements with a lot of guys. And I think that just the continuation of him being able to just get better at being able to throw strikes. And I mean, here I also have a kind of a chart showing that the top is 2024 and the bottom is 2025 of just his heat zones for his fastball, slider, and changeup and splitter. And so it's like, and you can see, especially with the off speed in 2024, that slider off speed is all over the place. And you can see in the middle of the zone, there's a big white circle, which means he's not, which you necessarily don't want to throw pitches directly down the middle. But from a heat zone perspective and from just filling up the strike zone, having the big middle of the strike zone completely empty is not really a great thing. And you can see the improvements with the kind of the clustering of his slider and even that split finger splitter that he's got. You can kind of see that there's a lot more in zone and more in and around the same area where you can see there's a lot of consistencies with which all come down to release height, release point, release timing, extension, everything of that nature. It kind of all comes down to being able to consistently throw the same pitch over and over and over again. And I think that's huge for him. And I think that if he can do that in 2026 at an even higher level than he did in 2025, I think he's going to be a great back end arm. And he has a high 90s fastball. Its slider is has a great depth in horizontal movement, and it's like you have this guy and you finally just got him into your system for the first full year, and you see all these improvements, and all you really want from him is to just be able to continuously improve. And I think that that's what he's doing, and I think that giving him an extended chance at that 5 rotation spot would be really big for the Rays and for himself. And I think that if he can do that and continue to do that at a high level, he's going to be a great fifth starter for us. And so the next thing I kind of want to talk about is the ZiPS metric. And for those that don't know what the ZiPS metric is, it's like a player projections that was developed by Dan Zamborski of Fangraphs, and it's kind of like a growth and decline curve on player trends, past performances, kind of from the last 4 seasons, with the weights more heavy on recent seasons, and it factors injury data, play by play, velocities, everything like that you can think of. They throw into this metric, and they're updated every single day, and they predict each player's numbers over the course of the remainder of the season. And so I have that here for you guys, kind of just to show what the data thinks of our team. And you can see that from a rotation perspective, Rasmussen, Pepio, McClanahan are kind of in that upper tier. Sorry, of kind of in that upper tier of 2.5 plus kind of data points. And for comparison, if you really like to compare, Caminero, arguably he's probably the best player on the team. I don't think anybody's really arguing that. He's at a 4.0. And so if you want to compare, I would compare Caminero to kind of that upper echelon tier of 4.0. If we could have everybody at 4.0, we would win the World Series every single year, which is that's pretty accurate. But that's never going to happen. But and you can see that it's where we're struggling trying to find players is where the stats don't show. So it's like you can see at second base, they have Walls, Palacios, Velati. It's a 0.5. That is not good at all. That is really, really bad. And even transitioning over to left field with Simpson and Fraley, it's a 0.9. And it's just the amount of just fluctuation in the lineup from Aranda and Diaz being a 3.2 at first to Diaz and Aranda still being a 3.2 at the DH spot, because that's pretty much just going to be interchanged whoever plays first base that day. And Caminero at a 4.0, and then you have Williams and Walls at 2.3 at short. And then it's just the drop off at second base and behind the plate. And then just in the outfield, it's just not good. And there's just so many extra steps that I believe that we could take to kind of try and make this better, that I think that there's so much that we can do to kind of just mend and pick and place players together to just try and get the best opportunity possible to succeed at the highest level in 2026. And from the chart perspective, second base, corner outfielder, back end starter, catcher is what we've known we need to focus on, and the stats show it. So it's just one of those things where it's like it needs to be done, and I understand from the financial perspective as of right now it's difficult, and I get it. And sure, Fortes could have a career year this year. He could. Simpson could somehow be the best defensive left fielder in baseball somehow. It could happen. It's not going to, but it could. So it's just one of those things where we have to kind of just embrace what's happening and kind of just try and mitigate as much pain from these positions as possible and kind of just see where it goes in 2026. But you guys let me know what you guys think about that. Let me know what you guys think about Joe Boyle, especially also want to know about these rankings, what you kind of think about them. And you guys have a great one.